Hello, parents and guardians. How are you this week? So, today I really want to discuss a topic that I feel is very, very, very beneficial because every topic that I discuss each week is very beneficial. So, today we're going to be talking about PLN, either personal or personalized professional learning network. So, what is PLN and what do we use it for? Well, PLN is a learning network that enables its users to tap into and share diverse teaching strategies and tools. So it is very, very, very important that we are looking into these avenues because, gosh, I didn't know how insightful that this could actually be, but this has really helped me implement a lot of my teaching strategies in the way that I run my class. And so one of the biggest things is that there are so many social media platforms, as I mentioned last week. There's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Pinterest, and there's so many other gateways that we can use to interact with each other that we usually don't. And so what does it mean when I'm talking about personal learning networks or professional learning networks? It's a space where professionals can sit down and they can actually talk about different things as far as what they implement in the classroom, what they dislike or like about certain things in the classroom, different types of tools. So even things like Seesaw, things like model learning, things like Ngrade, different types of educational sites as well that they use and they implement in the classroom to keep things very organized and to make sure that it's inclusive to the students and to all students. And so I think that this is super important because one of the biggest things is that with PLN, it can have a very beneficial impact. So like I mentioned before, it is a hub for many educators from around the world to share their experiences and new ideas in the classroom. This is very important because having a large amount of creative minds working together to ensure the success of the students is definitely something that we really want to promote. And it's something that I think will definitely help future educators, current educators, and many other people who are seeking careers in education. And so with PLN, one gateway that I've found very, very helpful to use is Twitter. Now, Twitter is one of the biggest, most controversial social media sites ever. And the reason being is because a tweet can go a million miles in 2.5 seconds. It is very, very, very beneficial that you are making sure that you're watching and that you're understanding what you are posting on Twitter, because it is a site that is public. It's very, very public, and whatever you post is published. And so I like Twitter, and I think that it's very important that we should use this avenue is because of the fact that Twitter, it has the retweet and the like features, which I really, really like, because if you retweet something, it goes on your thread. And so it's important because the people that you follow will also be able to see your thread, and they'll be able to interact with things that they feel, may work for them, or things that they can also add to their thread. They can retweet from your thread as well. And the like, because you can definitely go back and look at what other students what other teachers have looked at, and you can kind of see what works, what kind of learning styles, what kind of things that I could implement. And the thing is that with Twitter is that it has hashtags, and so these hashtags promotes live conversations on a thread while discussing some big issues in education. And so you click on the hashtag and you get to see all these wonderful and beautiful things that so many people are posting and want to implement inside the classroom. And so as a parent, I would really want to know what my child is going through. And so I encourage you all as parents and guardians to go onto these sites and to look and to navigate with these hashtags so that you can understand ways that education is being evolved. There are so many different and new techniques within technology, and I think we talked about this even in my media information learning, that in this generation so many students are looking at technology to help enhance their education and to help make them feel comfortable in education. And one of the biggest things that we have to understand is that when we are implementing these ideas of social media to students, that we're giving them educational resources as well to go look at and to look through. For example, I'm using my old university, so Michigan State University, and basically I've found so many different resources on Twitter, and so many different things that could help. So, for example, I want to pursue a master's in student affairs sooner or later. So, being able to see things about student affairs and being able to understand how the student affairs program at my university promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they even offer, tuition clinics, which I didn't know, that they will actually sit down, they'll advise you through financial aid and financial sources if you're having trouble paying for school. The same thing with studying abroad is that when I decided to study abroad, just a while back, I did not have these resources, or did not know I had these resources on Twitter that I can go to. So the MSU Education Abroad has a program where they feature experiences from other students who've traveled around the world, and you can actually read over those experiences so that you too can see these real life experiences being played out, and you can make the decision of whether or not the money is worth it. Once again, I didn't have access to those resources, and I didn't know that they were available, and so I went on my study abroad on a whim. Thank gosh, it ended up being good, and it counted towards a class that I needed to graduate, so that was important. Also, to MSU RCPD. So the RCPD unit is basically a unit that helps assist with students with disabilities, and it is very, very, very important. I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to start implementing ideas on ways that we can include people with disabilities inside of education, because we don't have many resources for students who are disabled. And the thing about students who are facing disabilities is that they're really afraid to come into these areas because they're in fear of being judged, or they're in fear of not feeling like they're part of the community. And the thing is, they are no different from your children. They are still the same kids that wants to go to school, that wants to learn, that has a passion to do anything. It's just that their disability may be limiting them in some ways, and we don't want to show that the disability is limiting, because at the end of the day, a disability is something that they can't change, but they can find ways to work around it, and they can also find ways to navigate it so that it does not become a weight on their life, and it does not defer them from any dreams that they may have. And so it is super, super important that when we are discussing these avenues, that we are also looking into resources that can help any student, disabilities, if they have identity issues, if they have any other, issues. We want to make sure that we can confront those so that students don't feel like it is an issue and that it's stigmatized, but they can feel that it's just a part of their identity and something that they have to learn to interact with in their life, so that they can live a very nice, smooth, cohesive transition throughout whatever educational avenue that they're looking into. I definitely also think that the graduate wellness is definitely a thing, especially me wanting to pursue my master's sooner or later. It is very important that we have these resources for students to understand that mental health is very, very important. In honor of Mental Health Week this week, the week of October 6th, I really, really want to stress the fact that it's very important that we are keeping in tune with our mental health, and that we are understanding that it is, very, very essential that, especially with social media, these platforms can really, really tarnish, or it can really help someone's mental health, because the things that you post can either be toxic to a person, it can make a person feel that they need to live up to those standards, or it can be very beneficial to a person. You can change the stigmas that people have with social media on it being a place where people can't live their normal lives, because there's so many people living false advertised lives. And so I definitely think that this is something that is very, very perfect, because it's a resource that allows students to actually talk about their experiences and how they dealt with mental health, and how they are dealing with mental health, and how they are continuing to keep a positive and strong mental health status, so that they can make it through their graduate program and essentially graduate with their master's degree. And then finally, I think that OCAT is definitely a resource to reach out for. For me personally, being the first college generation student and not being able to have resources to look out to was a culture shock to me. I had been away from home a couple times because I had went to a private boarding school my first 2 years of high school. But at the same time, I think living back at home after those 2 years has really, really, really impacted my life, because I was in a place where I went to a private small boarding school. So, there was only about, maybe if anything, 800 students. And now I'm going to university where there's like 30,000 students. And so just with that experience already, that was a culture shock for me. And it was something that I had to learn to get over, because once again, this is a foreign place and it's not a place that I'm used to or used to seeing around. And so I definitely think that as parents, this week, I really want to assign you all to a specific project. And this project is to go out and to find resources that could help your child throughout their experiences, whether it be in my class or whether it be in the current grade that they're in, whether it be middle school, high school. Read these threads and see what students are going through, and see what commonalities that your child and these people that are bringing these resources up have in common, so that you can be able to deal with some things in your child's life. I'm pretty sure parents have a lot of Twitter forums and things that they also use to talk about many issues that happen in school, whether it be bullying, whether it be my child is having a hard time transitioning from middle to high school, from elementary to middle school, whether it be my child is 13 now, and maybe they're at that age where they want to keep things private and secretive. And so as parents, we really have to be sure that we're using these social media pages to not only watch over our children, but also learn things about our children through these avenues, so that we can understand how to help our children in general when things aren't going well or when they need assistance. And so finally, the last part of the project, an assignment that I have for you parents, is that after, come to me with 3 of the forums, and we can discuss those so that it can provide a very inclusive environment for your child, for yourself, and it makes everything flow cohesively when we're all on the same page and we all understand how things run in the world of social media, in the world of the classroom, and even in the world of how students personally feel. So I'm very, very, very excited once again to introduce this idea to you guys. And I really, really hope that you take this into consideration, because it's something that I really want to fully implement in the classroom and make sure that students feel comfortable. So yeah, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.